Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about one of the most important things when it comes to UPSC exam, which is the syllabus of the exam. The syllabus of the exam is something that a lot of candidates actually end up ignoring, and they just follow whatever the coaching institutes are telling them. But if you actually generally you end up following what coaching institutes are telling you, which is a wrong strategy. Generally, what I believe, and I also did when I was preparing for the UPSC exam, was really understand the syllabus of the exam. So there are three things that you should keep in mind when you're trying to understand the syllabus of the UPSC exam. All right, don't follow anyone blindly. Don't follow any coaching institutes guidelines or syllabus that they have provided you, or some kind of a plan that they have provided you blindly. What you should do is understand the syllabus yourself. So the three things you should do to understand the syllabus yourself properly are these. Number one, try to understand the preliminary syllabus, and from this you will discover that the preliminary exam syllabus is very wide, especially for GS. It does not have any specific things that are given in it. See, current events of national and international importance, pretty much very wide. History of India and Indian national movement, very wide. India and world geography, very wide. Here it gives you some specific things like economic geography, physical and social, but that is already included in this, so it is wide. Indian polity and governance, political system, etc., wide. Economic and social development, again wide. And what to study here, right? That is also a question. And then general issues of environment, ecology, etc., climate change that do not require subject specialization. Here it is somewhat specific in telling you that you do not require any specialization, meaning that these are general knowledge kind of things that the UPSC is going to ask you. So first, try to understand that prelims does not have a very specific syllabus. The prelims study that you need to do really has to come from the main syllabus only. The main syllabus is the best guide to study for UPSC, and the main syllabus is given here in the notification of UPSC. So general studies 1, general studies 2. General studies 1 is broadly history. It has some sociology factor in it also, and geography. Okay, geography of the world and India also. Then general studies 2 is polity, mostly polity and international relations and social justice. General studies 3 is basically all kinds of current affairs which have to do with anything to do with economic development, climate change, biodiversity, security and disaster management, technology. So these are a lot of current affairs. And general studies 4 is ethics, so that doesn't have to have anything to do with prelims. But remember, prelim syllabus is pretty much the main syllabus for GS 1, 2 and 3, including the current affairs portion. So that's why I always tell all the candidates to keep in mind that they should be using the main syllabus when they are studying for prelims. Because if you are not using the main syllabus while studying for prelims, then you are misguided, because neither you are preparing for mains, neither you are preparing for prelims properly. All right, so that is one thing. Second thing that you have to keep in mind is there is paper 2 in prelims, which is basically also known as Csat, and which includes comprehension, which includes things like logical reasoning and analytical ability. So it has some maths in it, it has some comprehension, logical reasoning, decision making, etc. And this paper requires only 33% marks to pass. So this is a very simple one. I don't think you require to study so much for it unless you are weak in it. So if you are already an engineer, if you have done some sort of maths, logical reasoning in your college, then 33% is pretty easy to get. So I would say 80% of the candidates are comfortable with paper 2. Those who are not, give it some time. Try to refer to R.S. Sharma's books on comprehensions, etc., and they are pretty good. Or refer to any of the IIM materials. Even though UPSC is not as high as IIM materials, you can use the basics to study for the CSAT portion. Now, that being said, let me tell you about the third portion, which is the qualifying papers. Let me just delete this all so that it becomes easy for you to understand. Here you go. The qualifying papers require only 25% marks. So here if you come to qualifying papers which are given after these, I think, let me scroll down. All right, they are not here. Yeah, here is the qualifying papers. Qualifying papers, either you have to take one Indian language, that can be Hindi, that can be Marathi, that can be Tamil, and you have to take the English paper. But you require very less marks, only 25% marks in this. So it is very easy to pass. I don't think they have given a particular percentage that you have to get, but I think it is very not of a very high standard. You just need to show your proficiency, basic proficiency in these exams. So sometimes what happens is people who have studied in English are not able to pass Indian language exam. So what you should do is at least get a basic book of Hindi, if you are Hindi is your paper, Marathi or Tamil or whatever is your paper, and study that. If you are a candidate from the Northeast, I don't think you need to take this Indian language exam. You are exempted from the Indian language exam. So please check that once more, because that is what I have been told. English is also very simple. It requires very simple understanding of English. So it is just to have some proficiency, because of course as an officer you will need some proficiency in English and maybe one of the Indian languages. All right, so these are easy things. Now let's get on to the main thing. I'm going to tell you about the entire preliminary from the mains exam syllabus itself. How to understand the syllabus. See, try to understand this syllabus at two levels. One is an overview, and the second thing is a little bit deeper in details. All right, and for this you need to make topics. Overview is basically you need to study history of India and the world. You need to study geography of India and the world, and physical geography. Okay, by this I mean the characteristics. You need to study some sociology or society, some basic ideas about poverty, etc., family structures in India, etc. You need to study economics. In economics, you need to focus on economic development as a topic. You need to study current affairs. You need to study environment, climate change, etc. So all these things you need to study. So this is the basic, larger encompassing thing that you have to do for UPSC. When you are preparing, you have to study all these major subjects for GS 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. First, try to understand that and have that in your mind. Then second thing you need to do is print out all this syllabus. This entire syllabus, print it out and always keep it on your desk where you are studying. This should be 24/7 with you, and you should be referring back every time you're studying any topic. Refer back to these topics to see where they fit. That will give a nice structure to your preparation. Okay, after that you need to get into the deeper details of every topic. So I used to give numbers, print it out and give numbers to all these different topics. And even within these topics, let's say some is a longer topic. Okay, let's say distribution of key natural resources across the world, including South Asia, factor responsible for location of primary, secondary, and tertiary industry. So these are two topics: natural resources of the world. Now he's talking about natural resources of the world, so that means India also, and they have given that also, India and the world. And then the second topic is location of industries. Now when it comes to location of industries, you will study that this topic has both a historical aspect, it has geographical aspect, and it has an economic aspect as well. All right, when you study you will discover that. So this broad understanding of each topic should be available to you, or you should study it that way. So when you make these topics, and then according to the topics you Google these topics, you go into various subtopics that are part of these topics. Now that is the hidden syllabus of UPSC. Hidden syllabus meaning that something that they don't tell you about. Obviously they have given you all these major topics, but these subtopics are the ones that you need to figure out and study for. For example, let's say you are studying for GS2. They have given comparison of Indian constitutional scheme with that of other countries. Now they have not given which countries you should compare them to. So that is the hidden part. So in this you have to make subtopics like India versus US because US is the biggest democracy in the world, versus UK because India's system is based on United Kingdom system, versus let's say South Africa because India has historical ties um, and similarities to South African polity. Similarly, versus France because this is a big democracy again, and lot of great political ideas came from France. And let's say versus some Asian country, you might want to look at some Asian country like Japan or any country in Southeast Asia. So now from where will you get all this? Well, most of this is given, some of this is given in polity books, some of this is given in online sources, so you can just Google them. Once you've studied this much, and you have to always, like, let's say there are some good resources like PRS, they keep publishing articles about what is in news, what people are talking about. So that way you will get a good idea about what to study. You don't need to go beyond this really to study this. Now, second thing you want to understand while studying this topic is also the major features of India's constitution. Unless you understand the major features of Indian constitution, how can you compare them with the other constitutions here? Right? Compare kya karna hai? What do you have to compare? That is also important. So this is how you need to understand the syllabus. Then only will you be able to study for UPSC properly. Otherwise, what will happen? Coaching institutes will keep telling you, ye padho, wo padho. They will provide you all this material, but it will be useless because you don't have a clear picture in your mind. You should have a very clear picture in your mind so that you are able to really synthesize so much information and understand it. Topics like these are very simple. For example, salient features of representation of People's Act, because it is simply asking you to study the main features of representation of People's Act, because you can find easily this online anywhere. But what you need to do further is see if there is any recent news about any controversies when it comes to representation of People's Act, or if the Parliament is planning to change it, or if there is any Supreme Court case going on in this particular issue, or there is any major Supreme Court case that has happened in this. This is how you should basically understand the syllabus of UPSC and study it. Similarly, for economic development and ethics, I will make that video another time. I hope this gives you a good starting point. And like I always say, just go ahead and start your preparation. You will do well. Best of luck. See you another time.